Once again, we have hit the 2-minute warning, and it appears that the Longhorns are going to get their next win. It is a 2-score lead at the 2-minute warning in Fayetteville, 20-10, and the Longhorns just converted a big first down that probably allows them to run this clock out. 2-minute warning, 20-10. Texas leads Arkansas, and Texas fans maybe a little exhale as the afternoon rolls on. I'm Chad Hastings. Jason Sukamel with me here at TCH Social in Austin. That, of course, is Jeff Ketchum, the owner of OrangeBloods.com. He is back in his workspace, in his environment in the Woodlands. He's ready to roll, and Anwar is in Fayetteville. God love him. He'll join us from the press box as soon as he can. We invite your super chats. You know how it works. Big money goes to the top. Super chats always welcome. Folks already piling in the Specs chat. And of course, a shout out to the Lowy Law Firm, the post-game show here on Orange Bloods Live, brought to you by the good folks at the Lowy Law Firm. All right, fellas, I'll let y'all jump in and comment. Jason, give me your thoughts on 20-10 so far.
You're probably going to end 20-10, right? My thoughts are, it wasn't a thing of beauty, Chad. We were watching this after-watch party with some Longhorn fans, and people were pretty frustrated. And of course, I'm on the Orange Bloods message board, and people were frustrated with Quinn Ewers' performance. Overall, had a great drive to respond when Texas needed him to. But hey, I said in my write-up that I'll be posting here once the game ends. You're in survive and advance mode. This is Sark keeps saying every game is a SEC championship game now, right? So 20-10, it's not going to be one we're going to look back on too fondly. You're going to have national pundits who would say, "Oh, what has Texas done to show that they're deserving of their ranking?" Well, this gives them a little more ammunition, potentially. But you know what? Bottom line is Texas gets the win, stays in championship contention for the conference championship, college football playoff. It's a good win on the road. Hey, you beat Arkansas Razorbacks, you beat a rival, so let's not nitpick it too much. Like we said last week, you'll enjoy the win, Longhorn fans, and enjoy a good Saturday too.
A minute and counting on the clock. Texas is able to go victory formation here. Cats are going to get a 20-10 victory over Arkansas. What'd you think?
Oh, I think I will echo a lot of what Jason just said. I think that, there will be glass half full and glass half empty Longhorn fans today. The glass half full person is going to say, we're not going to apologize for a double-digit road win at a place where we were embarrassed 3 years ago. Not in November, not when just winning your games, the remaining ones, gets you to the SEC championship game. And I don't think that person is wrong. I think the glass half empty person will say that performance, specifically on the offensive side of the ball, isn't going to get Texas where it wants to go. It's not that today wouldn't be good enough to win from my vantage point in College Station in 2 weeks. It wouldn't be good enough to win in an SEC championship game. That doesn't win you a playoff game. And so I think the glass half empty and the glass half full people, I don't think they live in a universe where both of those statements are not true. I think all of that is true. So you're going to have some people today who will only point towards the future and say, it's got to be better than that or else. And they'll run into people who will say, can't you just be happy we beat Arkansas? It's a rivalry game. Look, I picked Texas to win by 12 points. They won by 10. I don't know how much, I don't know how to reconcile with, I don't think that was good enough versus I kind of thought they would win by 12 and it might look a little more impressive than it did. I think that lends to the views that people will have on the offensive side of the ball. A running game that only averaged 3.7 yards per carry, but that includes a lot of sacks. It's a passing game that was remedial today. Quinn Ewers really struggled throwing the ball down the field. When it does go above 20 yards, it just feels like he's hoping and praying. There were balls that I think were there today that just weren't even close. It's a game that's got a lot of truthful things inside of it, and not all of them are good.
All right.
Sorry, Chad. It's funny, Catch. You said that. I was thinking the same thing as you were talking. I'm sitting here dissecting this game and I'm picking it apart in my post-game write-up, and I'm like, wait a second, I picked Texas to win by 10, so why am I being so harsh on them? It's more about the offensive play, and you said exactly what I wrote, Catch. It's like, if they have aspirations of winning the SEC championship, of winning a college football playoff game, much less a college football playoff championship, Quinn Ewers in the offense has to be better than what we saw today. But ultimately, I picked a 10-point win. So, I mean, hey, the offense didn't live up to expectations, but the defense exceeded my expectations. So, 10-point win, it's a scrappy opponent on the road, rivalry game. I just celebrated Longhorn fans and enjoyed it.
Let's get it started with some big money and a grant at that. Texas boy with a $49.99. Thank you, Texas boy. That's either you go or you got damn right. We did. You got damn right. Oh, I got you. Okay, that's cussing without cussing. Okay, you got damn right. We did. $49.99. Texas boy. Thank you for that. Hope you enjoyed it with your crew somewhere. And then we had the Google Scholar jumping in with a $1.99. I don't care how it looked. A dub is a dub with a hook'em emoji to go with it. Google Scholar, thank you for that. And Catch, I think you said it very well. There will be all sides of it, and it can all be true. I think today. And I picked the 10-point game as well. I was a touchdown off for both teams. I had 27-17. I thought it would be more of a grind-out game. I thought it would be a little more of a close contact SEC type of game, and it was. Catch, the biggest thing I think you take out of this as a positive thing for Texas fans, you were asked to play just a tough, hard-nosed SEC game on the road. There was a moment where I thought you needed to run. And you did. By the way, you got the stats in front of you, Jason. Did Texas outrush Arkansas in this game today?
Texas, 139 yards rushing for Texas, 82 for Arkansas is all. So,
boom. That's what needed to happen. That's what I told you guys all week that I thought needed to happen for Texas to win. Didn't have to be beautiful. You just needed to outrush the Hogs, because that's the way they beat people, is outrushing them and just making it kind of a grimy game. They didn't. And Catch, I thought specifically the moment of the game when it goes from 13-10 to 20-10 and Texas gets that drive and converts, and Quinn Ewers does hit a couple big passes and they run when they need to. Obviously, that's the drive of the ball game, to let fans breathe a little bit and get to 20-10.
Yeah, and I think that, look, when we start talking about the glass half full, glass half empty thing, in the third quarter, Arkansas goes and scores its first touchdown. It makes it 13-7, and Texas gets the ball back, and they go 3-and-out. Arkansas gets the ball back. They go down, score a field goal. It's a 3-point game. Texas gets the ball back. They went 75 yards and put together the most impressive offensive drive of the game. So, I think there's more good in that than bad. The 3-and-out, not good, but ultimately closing the game out with a touchdown drive. It was a really good drive. It was probably Quinn Ewers at his very best the entire game. Quinn was not really good today, but he was on that drive. I think 4 or 5 for 47 yards. I think that's just – I'm not looking at the numbers. I just think that's what I wrote down earlier. If you want to be really positive about the offense, Chad, and I'm kind of more of an asshole than I am not.
How dare you? Don't be so hard on yourself, Catch. That's not fair.
So there's a part of me that just wants to focus on this wasn't good enough. But in the fourth quarter, Texas had a touchdown drive. I'm just talking about the offensive side of the ball. Texas gets a touchdown drive that seals the game. And then when they got the ball back there at the end, they did put together a couple of first downs. It ends with Quinn Ewers on a keeper, ultimately, allowing the Longhorns to get into victory formation after the 2-minute warning. So if you want to be glass half full guy, you'll say Texas offense wasn't good all day. True. But last 10 minutes of the game, they closed out the game the way Steve Sarkeesian would want that group to, and that means he'll feel like those guys can walk out of the stadium with their heads held high.
All right, let's check some super chats. How about another 50 spot? Thank you, Angry Hammer. What time is Adam Lowy making his guest appearance? I don't believe we have a scheduled Adam Lowy appearance, but Adam, if you're out there, you want to jump in.
Yeah, Adam wanted to come on the show. That's fine.
Of course. The post-game show brought to you by the Lowy Law Firm. They do incredible work. They're up over 1,000 folks in that Specs chat. Shout out to Specs and shout out to TCH Social Austin. That's where Jason and I are right now. That's where the watch party was. Our normal crew showing up, and it's starting to grow more and more. Yeah, if you want to know where to come watch the game, this is where it is. And we had a good group today. Thank y'all for coming out and seeing us. Angry Hammer, thank you for that 50 spot. We do appreciate that. All right, let's go through some more of these super chats. Our man Money B throws a 20 at us. Thank you, Money B. Good win. Should have kicked the field goal to cover.
And Jaden Blue should have got 5 more yards on that last screen pass, right, Catch?
Oh, come on, Jeff Ketchum.
That hurt all of us.
5 more yards. I listen to the Prize Pick show every week religiously with you guys on Thursdays. I jot stuff down. I take notes, and then I put things in, and I really agreed with y'all on the Jaden Blue receiving yards, and it came up 5 yards short. Damn it.
They used Blue today like they used Wisner in previous weeks. And then today, Wisner was more of the Blue guy. You know, when Wisner, the only pass play that Ewers completed in the third quarter was that 30-yarder to Trey Wisner. And I would be lying if I said I may have cursed when that happened.
Oh, I may have chat. Well, you guys all saw my message. Like, I won't even repeat what I typed and what I said.
There was a roar from down the table from where I was when that was
that's supposed to be Blue.
When that was not Jaden Blue. Yeah, that was you're supposed to be my boy Blue was the scream, I think, on that one. Money B, thank you for that super chat. All right, Tyler just throws us $5 because Tyler, thank you so much. We appreciate you throwing a little something in the tip jar there. S-Roan 45 says we did what Tennessee couldn't. Tennessee did lose to this.
They didn't do what Ole Miss did.
That is true.
Ole Miss went to Arkansas and just put it on.
But now on the other side of things, Texas allowed 3 full touchdowns less than Ole Miss did. Ole Miss gave up 31 in this game to Arkansas. Texas
the two performances aren't remotely the same.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But in terms of the type of game, this is obviously a game where your offense just wasn't going to step on them by the end. But the fact that the defense holds it at 10 the entire game.
But Arkansas got a lot of those points. Like that was one of those. They were up by a bazillion at halftime in that game. That game was over.
Right.
I mean,
you're right.
Over.
You're right.
In the second quarter. So it's almost like anything that happened afterwards was a scrimmage. But I feel you. I'm just saying, in no shape, form, or fashion can Texas look at its performance today, point to what Ole Miss did, and pretend that it's in the same galaxy.
Yeah, no, if you do that, it's only on the defensive side. Only if you want to brag on your defense can you talk about that. All right, couple of 20 spots here. Thrawn, excuse me. It sounds like a character in a Marvel movie. 1999, when things got tight, Quinn and Sark did what they needed to do. It's not 05. It's not Vincent at quarterback. It can be very good, complete team, and we can compete with the best teams this year. No team is elite.
I don't disagree with any of it. I mean, you would like to see the offense play better than it did today, but this is a championship level defense that brings it every single week. I mean, I don't care if you need this offense to play better if they're going to win championships. Okay, I think we would all agree with that, and Thrawn would probably agree with that. But this defense will keep Texas in every single game, even if the offense is a little bit sluggish. This is not a team that's going to go out and get blown out by anybody. There's not a dominant team out there in college football. We talked about that last week, Chad. So, I think I agree with it. I mean, it wasn't the most beautiful win, but that defensive performance week to week, I mean, that group just brings it every single week and is going to have Texas in every single ball game, regardless of who.
Yeah, and real quick, guys, before we get to this next super chat, thank y'all for throwing the super chats at us today. Let's call 3 defensive players by name specifically. Alfred Collins continues to play well and create havoc. Jahdae Barron, I think, had every kind of defensive stat in this game you can have. And Trey Moore keeps making some plays for this defense. Catch, give me your thoughts on the Texas defense overall, because obviously there was through a big hunk of this game, it was about keeping Arkansas at bay. They kept Arkansas on the other side of the 50, basically, for 3/4 of this ball game. What do you think of the Texas defense?
I mean, it was excellent. I think Johnny Barron probably won the Thorpe Award today. He was sensational. That was, it's funny. I think back to Aaron Ross had a game like this in 2006 against Nebraska, where they don't win that game without him, and he forces the fumble in that 06 game in Lincoln, or I guess no, it was 07. Excuse me. He forces. No, was it 06? Yeah. God, I'm getting old. It was the game in Lincoln.
We're beyond that. We're too old.
Earl Thomas had a couple of games like this. Yeah. Real performances that you just look at, and it feels like that may be the signature performance of the season, of the career. In the first half, 4 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, a sack, an interception. He was sensational, and he's been great all season long. That move to the outside has revolutionized who he is as a player. The more I look at it, I wonder, has he taken a huge step up as a senior, or was he playing the wrong position as the nickelback, which he was really good at, but certainly not special? I think, hey, my dogs say hello. It's always fantastic.
One sack, 2 tackles for loss, 1 interception, 1 pass breakup, 1 quarterback hurry. The only stat he didn't get in on is the forced fumble.
Yeah, I said it as a joke. He almost literally did everything you could do. And by the way, we know what Catch's dogs are excited about. Georgia, Tennessee. There's a dog on each side of that game. They're pumped. Catch's dogs are in the SEC for the first time ever. We haven't realized that this year. That's what they're pumped about. They're pumped about Uga versus Smokey. That's what they're jacked about right now. All right, let's grab some more of these super chats. I think I saw another big number here. How about another 20 spot from James? Slightly better Vandy game. D balled out. O limped to the finish. An inconsistent offense, an amazing defense. I can't defend Quinn anymore. Sark's play calling against the worst pass defense in the SEC. He never exploits weaknesses.
Well, he did try to test them deep a few times. It's just Quinn just overthrew those balls. I mean, that's where they're at their worst. Arkansas is defending passes downfield, and it's not that Texas didn't try it. And frankly, the plays were there for the taking. So I don't think this is on Sark so much as it is just lack of execution by Quinn, as James mentioned. I mean, some of that, if Quinn connects on 2 out of those balls, and you're adding, 120 yards of offense and a couple touchdowns. So I don't put this one on Sark so much. I thought the play calling was okay, but the deep ball execution by Quinn Ewers it's just kind of maddening. I just can't wrap my head. I had people asking me when we were sitting there, like, is it his vision? Is it a depth perception thing? Is it timing? I don't know what it is, but he wasn't even close.
Catch, what do you think?
I do put it's the buck stops with Sark. It's his offense, so I'm not going to put it all on Quinn. But Quinn is really Quinn Ewers is having problems with throwing the ball down the field, and if he's not getting the ball out of his hands quickly, we're at a point in his junior year right now where his pocket presence leaves a lot to be desired. He took sacks today that didn't need to be taken.
Yep. He walked into sacks. It's not just taking. He forces the sacks.
At one point, he got into the fetal position before contact even arrived. I would be very frustrated if I was Kelvin Banks with my starting quarterback after today. Banks had 2 plays where he's blocking his guy, and whether it was stepping up into the pocket and not kind of feeling what was around him, or he just gave up on one play. Those things aren't good, but they win. You get away with them. What you didn't want to see today was he didn't need to throw 5 touchdowns. It didn't need to be Florida, but you didn't want it to feel like a real regression, and I think today it felt like suddenly it feels like the Florida game was an anomaly, and that this goes more in hand with Vanderbilt and Oklahoma and Georgia, and that, it's just Texas will need more from the quarterback position. Today, I thought to myself, Texas is starting the wrong quarterback. And I know why he starts. I know why Steve Sarkeesian won't make the move. The best quarterback for Texas is on the sidelines. And
that's a bold statement, but I found myself thinking the same thing.
If Arch has had the other games and we've gotten to the 10th game of the season, I don't know that we feel like, what Ewers is supposed to have as an advantage is he knows the offense better. He makes his progressions faster. It's the mental side of things. You just can't tell me that today, and really for most of the last month and a half, that the Texas offense has a real advantage because of Quinn's knowledge and ability to go through his progressions. I think if Arch Manning were just starting all the games, some of this from his side would be fast forwarded, and they would just be a more dangerous offense. What got Texas in real trouble today, and a game in the fourth quarter, they played too much of their offense in a phone booth. And, it was enough today. And I got to have a lot of positives about today. Jaden Blue averaging 5.9 yards per carry, hard yards. I mean, they asked him to close out. They asked him to run between the tackles. It wasn't all show pony stuff today for Jaden Blue. I thought he was really good, especially on a day when Wisner averages 3.5 and Gibson averages 2.5. I thought Jaden Blue for the second week in a row maybe establishes himself as he needs to be the primary guy, whether he starts or not. We didn't mention Colin Simmons' name a ton, but welcome back to the sack party, Colin Simmons. He had been missing for a while. Now 2 more sacks. He's up to 6. That's exactly what you needed. Trey Moore, really good again today. So there were a lot of positives, but if the offense gets most of the discussion and the quarterback position the most among everybody, I thought Quinn Ewers was one of the worst performing Longhorns on the field today. He's better than the punter, but I don't know that I would say he was better than 4 or 5 other guys on the field today. He just wasn't anywhere near good enough.
All right, we've got some super chats. And William, I'm reading the chat. You're saying your super chat would fit in well here, so we'll put it in here. $4.99 from William. I know some GM is going to think he can make Quinn great. I think he should. I'll transfer for another year. I'll transfer for another year of college ball. I'm at the glass a quarter.
Full with Quinn, I'm assuming.
Full, yeah, quarter full,
with
Quinn. With Quinn Ewers. Okay.
I mean, other people in the chat are like, "Oh, Quinn was good." Like, hey, 20 of 32, 176, 2 touchdowns. Not terrible. But a 129 passer rating and just some of the missed opportunities. I mean,
that's not great.
That's not great.
That's not even close to great.
Well, and let's look at this real quick. In the second quarter, he had a sub 100 quarterback rating, and in the third quarter, he had a sub 100 quarterback rating. So in the middle 30 of this game, he wasn't good enough. Like we can't do this thing where Texas wins and they're the number 3 team in the country, but then we don't talk about the football part of it on such a level. In the second and third quarters combined, he was 10 of 18 for 82 yards, no touchdowns. It's a sub 100 rating. Like that's just
and catch that. Remember
that's think about Case McCoy at his worst as a starting quarterback, or Tyrone Swoops, or anybody. For 30 minutes of this game, Quinn Ewers was performing substantially below Case McCoy, Tyrone Swoops, Gerard Hurd, whoever you want to throw out there. It's really remedial football. His second and third quarter game rating would rate as the worst quarterback rating in America. So, look, he was really good in the fourth quarter. 4 or 5, 46 yards, the game-winning touchdown drive. And he was okay, certainly, I think, in the first quarter, although he misses, I think, what would have been a touchdown pass on a better thrown ball to Matthew Golden. But, before the Florida game, what we were talking about with Quinn is that he's doing this thing in every game, where There's a good quarter, there's an quarter, and there are two rotten quarters. And Texas won't be able to win the games that will define this season with that level of quarterback play. You can't just disappear from productivity for an entire half of football. In the middle parts, the guts of the game, again, it's one of these, the glass half full, half empty. It all is true today. Be happy with the win, but also if you're going to focus on the fact that this won't get it done when they play against Texas A&M in 2 weeks, I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong. I'm not going to say, well, it won't matter, because I'll tell you what happens. If he plays like this again in College Station, we'll say, man, the signs were there. They were there. And if we ignored them, why did we ignore them? Well, we love that dopamine hit that occurs when a team wins, and we like that more than we like focusing on the thing that's not really the dopamine hit. And, look, it's okay to say Quinn and the offense has to be better. And he's going to be the quarterback. So it really doesn't matter. I can say that I think Arch Manning gives this team the best shot at quarterback versus Quinn Ewers. It doesn't matter for a hill of beans, though, because Steve Sarkeesian is going to play Quinn Ewers. And this season will either be a success or a disappointment based on how Quinn Ewers plays. I don't think ultimately the Texas defense can carry this team where it wants to go. Quinn Ewers is going to have to do it. And today, Quinn Ewers this performance today would not have beaten a good team. It just wouldn't have. If Texas plays South Carolina today, a 3-loss SEC team, they would have lost this game in Columbia today. And they would have been in a real dogfight at home against a team like South Carolina if Ewers plays like that.
Speaking of a dopamine hit, Jason, thank you for $49.99. Send us 100 or more. What do you feel?
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, well done. Well done. Sark is paid big bucks to be able to make these kind of hard decisions. Quinn is officially the problem. We are wasting time in Arch's development with a really good team around him.
Jay Havlinski makes a good point, and I don't disagree with it. But there's not a coach in America that would bench Quinn Ewers in favor of Arch Manning. You don't bench a junior, third-year starter, took you to the college football playoff. I don't disagree with Jay, who's a loyal Orange Bloods guy. Jason there, Jay Havlinski. But I don't disagree with him, but there's not a coach in America, I don't think, that would make that kind of call.
Yeah, Jason, thank you very, very much for that $49.99. Catch, there was another super chat that I think also talking about Quinn that was interesting to me. Chris earlier with a $5. Quinn's footwork scares me. Seems like he stumbles and trips into sacks. Something you mentioned earlier, Catch. Running game is a concern as well. Love the defense. Good win. Catch, I turned to people during the game, and all I could say was his feet feel heavy every once in a while. There are plays where it doesn't.
Well, they were playing in weeds today, so that might have had something to do with it.
It was that. It did feel like that Dr. Lou called up Arkansas and said, we used to do at Notre Dame and Arkansas, just let the grass grow. Just let it grow, pick out the flowers, and let's play football.
My HOA would have sent an email or sent a letter.
Oh, yeah. No, there was at least. Yeah, I saw 2 dogs and 3 kids in there that they need to go find. Like there's some lost puppies in there and stuff. But you talked about him kind of walking into sacks at times and things. Just the footwork gets a little weird at times for Quinn. He'll snap out of it a little bit, but Catch, your point to 2 bad quarters. Like, can Texas afford 2 bad quarters against Kentucky and survive it because they're Kentucky? Can they take 2 bad quarters to College Station and survive it? That's a whole different question. And we've had a lot of that on the chat. I saw as we let in here people talking about what it would be in that game.
One of the things is it's late in the season, man. Like we're getting out. It's week 10.
Yeah.
So when this happens in October, I think it's easy to say, well, there are ebbs and flows during the course of the season. So you're going to have some games like this, although you shouldn't if you're elite or anywhere close to it. But now we're in mid-November, and the A&M game is in 2 weeks, and the SEC championship game is in 3 weeks, and the playoff, I just think that this is when you want to be playing your best football, not reverting back to some October pains. So I think there will be I think more disappointment than joy today, and I think it's easy to understand if that had been Miami, an undefeated Miami, if they'd done that same performance at Georgia Tech a week ago, we'd have killed them and said, "Oh, they're frauds, they're third." But that team can't. If that team did what they did against a good team, they wouldn't be third anymore. And I get it. I do. I think that I think this wouldn't have been good against a lot of teams today. And the good news is that Texas is still playing teams with very sketchy quarterback play. And that might be the case in College Station. I have no idea what to expect at the quarterback position for the Aggies that night. It could be a slightly better version of what Arkansas got from Green today. And if that version had existed, this could have been a more interesting game. So, you win who they schedule. You don't apologize for winning on the road in the SEC, especially considering Arkansas has been a problem for Texas in the last 2 decades, going back to the 2003 game in Austin, but even further back than that, if you think about the Houston Nut Cotton Bowl game. So, some of this is complex. Again, I will focus on some positives. The number of guys, although I do think Anthony Hill might have lost the butkus today. I've been convinced that he's a real front runner for that award. He had 0. He didn't make the stat sheet in the first half. Finishes with 2 tackles. If the voters are looking game by game and trying to decide in a cluttered field who closes the voting is, I think, in a week and a half maybe. Today might have been a day. I think Jahdae Barron may have won the Thorpe Award today on the day that Anthony Hill maybe lost the butkus. Maybe he never quite had his hands on it. But
there were stretches where Hill wasn't even on the field, and I'm like, maybe he's having illness or something going on that we don't know about. I'll be curious to hear if Sark addresses that.
Ty Anthony Smith was getting reps over him in the first half when Arkansas was driving, and I was thinking to myself, where's Zero? And he was on the sidelines with his helmet on waiting to come back in, and they just didn't have him in the game. Real kind of curious today. But he today was probably his worst performance of the season on a day when a lot of guys played really well, though. Anthony Hill weirdly didn't. I thought Michael Taft was really good today. I thought Malik Muhammad was good. Muhammad comes off the field in the third quarter, and they put Kobe Black in the game, and Arkansas went right at Kobe Black. And they went after Kobe Black in a way that I haven't seen teams go after Muhammad or Barron or Gilbo all season long. There's never been a game when you're like, oh, they're trying to target that guy. And
2 straight plays as soon as he came on the field.
Opposing teams must be thinking to themselves, go ahead, put in a backup quarterback, please. We're begging you. Because then they took Black out, who I think we all think is going to be a really good player. But then Muhammad comes back on the field again, and suddenly passing game's over. And, I'm probably going to write about this in my 10 thoughts tomorrow, but the secondary at Texas leads the SEC in interceptions. And considering where they were a year ago, they're really a massive part. A year ago, it was this team's Achilles heel. And this year, they're a massive reason why this team is where it is. And I just don't know that it's not just Jahdae Barron. I think real low-key and quietly, Malik Muhammad and Gilbo have been sensational this season. And when you have essentially the nation's best pass defense, which Texas does, that credit gets shared around. And I think either one of those guys could they haven't made a lot of big plays where Barron this year has got the big plays, but I could see some second-team All-SEC shouts there. Certainly honorable mention. those guys haven't had their names called out enough this season, and they've been really, really good.
Hey, shout out real quick to Bear and Sorrell, too. 7 tackles, only 2 solos, but he had a sack, tackle for loss, quarterback hurry. I thought Bear and Sorrell had one of the more active games.
He was really good. He's been blowing up plays these last few weeks, no doubt about it. We got over 1,500 of you in the Specs chat. We appreciate you. We got 14 super chats in the queue, ready to go. But let's show you the room here at TCH Social Austin. They've got that big, beautiful lounge area. That's back there where we were watching the game earlier. And that's where we watch the games each week. Make your plans for next week. Texas, Kentucky is a 2:30 kick from Austin. If you can get the DKR, do that. If not, come see us at TCH Social Austin. It was a good time today. I tried the grilled chicken sandwich. It was top notch. Our man Ryan is not lying about that chicken sandwich. I did it with the sweet potato fries. It was glorious. Jason, what'd you do?
Pretty basic. Flatbread pepperoni pizza was fantastic, and of course the bad beef. I all day. My wife doesn't care, but I'm like bored, and I'm like, I can't wait to get up there.
Telling you.
And she's like, "Well, that actually sounds pretty good." I'm like, damn right.
You know what? It's like, y'all know how this is true. All of us know this because we all have kids. That moment when the grandparents, you realize they care way more about the grandkids than they care about you, right? My mom now not only calls to check in on my daughter, she asks how that bad beat bacon is doing at TCH Social Austin because she had it and she loved it too. So shout out to them. Shout out to the Lowy Law Firm postgame show brought to you by the Lowy Law Firm. All right, let's scan some super chats here. We got a lot of good ones that have come in. This looks like the biggest number I see right now. Michael, thank you for that 10 spot. Yes, if Arch had stayed the starter due to Quinn's injury, this offense would be a lot better at this point. Now it's too late to play Arch, so this version of Quinn is what we've got. It is what it is from Michael.
You know, I hate jumping on board on a quarterback controversy. I don't want to be the one that kind of stokes those flames, right? But I don't disagree with them. But I mean, we're 10 games in. I'm not going. Nobody's going to make a change at this point. But you know, it is what it is. I think good way to put it, Mike.
Catch you by
real quick, Chad.
Go ahead.
I just want to go to this.
Okay.
Oscar, catching others want Cam Ward stats every game. He's simply winning. I'll take wins over PlayStation stats.
Is Quinn winning though, or is this defense winning? And you know, Quinn's a part of it, of course.
Right. Well, also, did I fall asleep in like a space pod? Didn't Cam Ward just lose to an unranked team? Didn't that just happen?
Yeah,
like 5 seconds ago?
But what Mark essentially is saying is, ignore the data, ignore the stats. We won. And I think that's just ludicrous because nobody's said Cam Ward. When people were talking about Quinn Ewers in the Heisman, I was like, get the out of here. This is about being I would take last year's Quinn, throw up a 155 or a 160, hit an occasional pass more than 10 yards down the road.
I got to think after today,
Mark, come on.
His season passer rating after today will probably be less than
it already. Well, yeah, it was 2 weeks ago. It was the Florida game boosted it up,
and now it's going to dip back down again. So his season passer rating might be lower than what it was last year. That shouldn't happen for a guy that people are talking about a first-round draft pick and Heisman hopeful early in the season. Hell, he was the Heisman favorite, I think, preseason. So, I mean, listen, I don't want to sit here and make this a bash on Quinn Ewers, but he is not playing up to expectations. He's just not. There's no other way to spin it.
We got 15 super chats in the group. Let's go to Jason. Another one, $9.99. Sark has to have the balls to go to Arch. This team cannot win a championship with Quinn at quarterback. We will not beat A&M with this offense.
Jason's going to super chat this thing into reality. That's what he's hoping for.
He really is. Jason,
keep him coming.
We
Jason.
believe in your idea, Jason. Keep it going. Keep it going. Catch, that would be, I mean, do you believe in the middle comment there, Catch, from Jason? This team cannot win a championship with Quinn at quarterback. That's a huge statement.
Conference.
Yeah, I believe that.
You believe that? Any kind of championship, Atlanta or otherwise. They're both in Atlanta. The first one or the second one.
I could see them winning. I didn't take that as an SEC. I took that as a national championship. They've already won a Big 12 championship, so you can win a championship with Quinn. If we're talking about national championship, though, no, I don't believe it's going to happen.
I'm in agreement with Jason. I think we're talking national championships.
Okay, Jason, thank you for that. Also, thank you, Samuel. Don't think we don't see the 199s. 199 will buy you a little bit at the grocery store. Not a lot, but there's got to be something that's 199. Thank you, Samuel. We appreciate you for throwing a little something in the old tip jar. Steven jumps in as well for $9.99. Are Texas receivers just not getting open, or is this all on Quinn? It's an interesting question, Steven. I saw multiple times today, fellas, where I thought there was a guy open and the protection was there, and I thought 3 just missed the opportunity. You guys tell me what you saw. Jason?
Yeah, I'm not going to say it's all on Quinn. It's never all on one person, but there were missed opportunities. Absolutely. I mean, we can sit here and list 3, 4, 5 of them downfield. And same, I mean, we've seen it in other games too. Last week, we missed a couple of wide open guys. I would put the majority of these struggles, I think, are on Quinn. I mean, we saw a play today where the receivers were open. I mean, it would have taken an accurate pass, but, Quinn, on some of those balls, he wasn't even close, Chad. He was, overshooting guys by 5, 6, 7 yards downfield. So to me, that's on Quinn. He had a clean pocket a lot of times. He stepped into pressure a few times, which, it just was not a very clean performance. All on Quinn? It's never all on any one person, but the majority of the passing game struggles were on Quinn.
Catch, how do you see the passing game stuff?
He missed receivers all. I'll echo what Jason said. I don't want to look anything in a vacuum and say it's all on a guy, but if we're specifically talking about were there not open receivers, there were open receivers.
That was first pass of the game was tipped, it being a completion. But
right, Bond made the catch, but you're right. No, that ball was tipped. Stephen, we appreciate that super chat. Thank you so much. How about this one? Did we get this one from Michael? Yes, we did. Thank you for that one. We could clean that off. This is the one. $4.99 from JS Hookem. Chad, I know you like these SEC grudge matches, but damn, our offense. We need that is a slap to the head. It's one of those, I think. We need a real captain to talk S to the offense to get up, but we won, I guess. No, not you guess. You did win. It was a 10-point win on the road in the SEC. We should point out, fellas, 10 in a row now in true road games. And that ain't nothing, Catch. 10 straight true road games in a row. That's a big deal. And I've said all season, if this team can go to Fayetteville and College Station and get those wins in what I think is the crueler part of their schedule and do it in a 2-week span, I'm going to give them a ton of credit. So I'll give them credit for what they did today, no doubt. But it's like you said at the very beginning, Catch. We got to see both things at the same time. You can't just say go to one part of it and not notice the other stuff. This was 20-10, but could it have been a lot worse? Oh, yeah, it could have. Like Texas absolutely could have hung more on Arkansas than they did. J.S. Hookem, thank you for that. Let's see what else we've got here. This is from Woo. Wow. $10 super chat. Great job, Sark, for the progress since the last time we went to Arkansas up front. All right. Ran when they needed to. I said it last week, guys. Texas couldn't run when they wanted to against Florida. I would argue they also couldn't run when they wanted to in this game. But I thought when they needed to, they did. When they needed that drive, we talked about it earlier, Catch, that 20-10 drive. And there were moments in this game where when it was time to get rid of it, I mean, hell, we haven't even talked about the Quinn Ewers 4th and 1 quarterback keeper.
Yeah, we have. I mentioned it.
You did. Okay, my bad. There's such a layer of guts in that play call all by itself. You talk about going against your tendencies. That was a big gutsy moment from Sark and Quinn.
I don't know if it was a designed run. It was looking more like a zone read to me. Quinn pulled the ball out. I mean, maybe it was, hey, Quinn, we're going to run no matter what. But it looked like maybe Quinn had the option to hand it off. But had he handed it off, I don't think they would have got the first down. So it was either great call, great execution, whatever. It worked for Texas. I don't know who to give the credit to. But, that was a big play, obviously, to close that game. Yeah.
And the bottom line, and Anwar is going to join us, obviously, from Fayetteville. He was there in 2021, and this team got pushed around. Flat out, SEC, physical, pushed around. And that did not happen today, obviously. they got a multiple score win in an SEC road game. So big credit to Texas there. We're also talking about all the little details of this one. Jump in if you like. Almost 1,600 of you in the Specs chat. And we love those super chats. Oscar, hope you enjoyed the game. $9.99, not good enough for what? Tennessee, the second team in the conference, couldn't win this game. So why does Texas need to be the statistical amazing in every game for people to think they are good?
Because it's our job to analyze the team, and this team didn't play a great game today. They left a lot of points on the field. I mean, the defense was good, -1 drive. Listen, I mean, it's a road win. It's a rivalry game, and we said, hey, celebrate. Go out and celebrate your day. It's a good Saturday for Texas. But it's our job to be analytical. This was not, if we're projecting forward, this was not a championship level performance, and Texas needs to eliminate these kinds of games if they truly want to get where they want to get to. That's an national championship.
How'd you respond to that?
Oscar, you're being intellectually disingenuous. You're saying, why does Texas need to be statistically amazing? Literally nobody has said that. What you can't do is us talk about something being statistically subpar and then say, what, you guys are complaining it wasn't amazing. No, we're complaining that he was statistically subpar. That the performance level, there's a big gulf between amazing and what today was. So why does Texas need to be statistically amazing? They didn't need to be. They just needed to be better. No one has said Quinn Ewers didn't look like the best quarterback in the country today. Nobody has said Quinn Ewers didn't look like a first-round draft pick today. No one has said that. No one has set the bar so high that you would then turn around and say, why are you guys saying they need to be statistically amazing? Didn't happen. And words matter. Words matter. You made that up in your head. What we're talking about is that the overall performance level today was kind of below average. It was below average. And that's not to say that he can't be better. That's not to say that the bar, I think he could have been somewhere between below average and amazing, and this team wins by maybe 21 points today. So, Texas is good, by the way. Is that the bar? Texas is good. They don't need to be statistically amazing in every game for people to think they're good. They are good. They're the number 3 team in the country right now. But was today going to win them games in 2 weeks? Does that win them in College Station? Maybe, maybe not. You certainly couldn't say certainly yes. And then every game after the Aggie game, Texas will play another game in that one way or the other. But every game after that, if Texas wins the game in College Station, will be against a better opponent. So, yeah, man, it's time to start elevating the bar. Did
we lose Coach?
Texas loses in College Station and they miss out on the playoff. That's a failure of a season. So, ask Georgia. The margins are really fine right now. They were number 2 in America a week ago. They're on the outside looking in a week later, trying to claw their way back in. There are levels to this. So, let's not do that where we suggest that we're saying something that we're simply not.
All right, it is the Postgame Show brought to you by the Lowy Law Firm, and it is time for us to go to Fayetteville, Arkansas, and talk to the one and only Anwar Richardson. He is there covering it for Orange Bloods like nobody else can. Anwar, how are you, sir?
I am doing good. If you didn't watch Sarkeesian but had to guess what he said, what do you think he said after the win in Fayetteville? Catch us first. Catch us first. Catch us first.
Catch us first. Off camera. Damn it.
I can't see it.
Okay.
If you had to guess, and if you've heard of Steve Sarkeesian press conference before, what do you think he said?
Anwar, you don't apologize for a road win in the SEC especially one against a team that beat Tennessee in this same building earlier in the year. The offense closed out the game. Their running game closed out the game. The defense was great all day. This was a fantastic performance.
Jason?
Can't overlook a good road win against a quality opponent in the SEC. He likes the way they responded when Arkansas cut it close, likes the way they closed the game out, running the ball. I think Sark's happy with the performance. Although I did notice at halftime, so I think going into the fourth quarter, they interviewed him on the sideline, and he said, we've got to get our offense going. Now, they did a little bit in the fourth quarter. So I'm going to go with they responded well in the face of adversity, Anwar, and tough road win against SEC rival. Be happy with it.
Hey, my job here is done. Hey, you guys have a good one. Hey, I'll see you guys on catch and see an overreaction Monday. My work here is done.
Mic drop.
Listen, every single thing that you said. The offense, you know what? Hey, they played three safety. Defense played three safeties, and so you know what? You have to take what we could give. We kind of adjusted at halftime, but we were able to close out the game. We had the ball in our hands. In the fourth quarter, we closed it out. Great defensive performance. Defense travels, and our defense played well. And blah blah blah. We're 9-1. It's hard to win on the road in the SEC. We were able to do that. We only got 2 more games. We're going to celebrate this win. Then we're going to get right back to it. How did Quentin perform? Well, again, they took a lot of things away from us, so we had to adjust. We just at a halftime decided to run the ball and focus on running the ball is what we did. Our defense played well. That's it. That you knew what he was going to say before he said it, but he still had to say it. That thing about Sark, no matter what, he will never apologize for a quote unquote ugly win. He will not. I do not care if they played Vandergrift High School and they won by 7 points. He would say, those kids over there at Vandergrift, they're really good, man. I mean, that's a good group of kids that they got going on there, man. And look, any win, even against high school, hey, you got to take the win, right? So, at the end of the day, I heard a little bit what you said, Catch, but at the end of the day, that's what he said. And so there's really nothing else for me to really add in from a Sarkeesian perspective. There's no injuries. There's no anything like that. Whatever you think he said, that's what he said. They're sitting at 9-1 with 2 games left. And he's not apologetic at all.
Yeah. Last time he was there, obviously, it was a very different taste for Texas coming out of that game.
They got their ass whooped.
Hey, real quick before we're about to go into super chats, I think. But Anwar, did anybody ask him? He said, "Hey, they're playing deep. They could give us." Did anybody say, "Well, what about the times Quinn did throw the ball downfield because he was missing his target by 7 yards on some of those throws?" Did anybody?
Yeah, you know how that thing goes. You get one, you get the one question, and it was. And
he probably would have pushed back on that too.
Yeah, I mean, someone will ask him on Monday, and he'll push back on that one. But 10, 12 minute time frame, kind of in and out, like no one got a chance to get those details.
Hey, Anwar, we honestly echo a lot of what Sark was saying. You don't apologize for today. Like every kid in that locker room can walk out head held high. Ultimately, they accomplished the thing that they went there to accomplish. Was it an ugly win, though? From your perspective, I'm curious. I think that
he's freezing.
Including Quinn in the offense and the kind of finishing things up. What did you think?
Hold on, Catch, you froze for a little bit, so I didn't actually hear your full question.
I was just curious, like, what did you personally make of today?
Well, what I made of today was, teams are who they are at this point in the year, right? So there's 2 ways to look at it. I mean, from an offensive standpoint, it's a little disappointing because just a couple of weeks ago, Jackson Dart comes in here in Arkansas, and they pretty much just steamroll them. And he goes crazy, as far as a statistical standpoint. So you would have loved to see a little bit more from an offensive standpoint there. And so there's that. But from a defensive standpoint, I mean, the defense has been lights out all year long. They've been fantastic all year long. Taylor Green is an okay-ish kind of quarterback. And they threw a lot of things at him. And he just, I mean, he had a little bit of success in the second half. For the most part, though, they were able to get there. He wasn't a run threat. They were pressuring him throughout the morning/afternoon. And so from a defensive standpoint, I mean, I look at a guy like Jade, and I say to myself, that dude's just making money and money and money every single week. Alfred Collins played a really good game as well. So Colin Simmons that was in there had a flash of Sorrell. So I just think I look at it from a defensive perspective. I think this defense is good enough to keep this team in every game that they're going to play. Now they're going to need some help on offense at times, and then there are these good times and bad times as relates to the offense. It seems like it wasn't in sync. There was Quinn that was missing things, but then sometimes Quinn would hit a guy in his hands and he would drop it, right? And then sometimes Quinn would lowball the throw. So I didn't only got a chance to read a little bit. I was waiting for Sark. Was kind of like when you kind of went into a half empty, half full ish kind of thing. I go back to my overall catch, which is, I think this, look, there's only 2 games left. They're going to beat Kentucky. So there's that. So they've got one more game that's left before they get there. As long as they need to beat A&M. To your point, they probably need to beat A&M to make sure they do make the playoffs. But overall, I think Steve Sarkeesian's brand of winning is not the thing that you love to watch. But I go back to last year, the Houston game, the TCU game, the K-State game. There's some games where he just says, they're going to win a little bit ugly. For him, though, he said the difference is at the end of the day, the good teams, when they find that way to win, that's the difference between maybe finishing your season at 8-4 because you find ways to win, even if it doesn't look great, versus being, 10-2 or 11-1. And so for him, at the end of the day, and I guess I kind of agree with it, at the end of the day, if they're finding ways to win, you may not love how it's done, but at the end of the day, we're doing a show about, we could nitpick the 20-10. I think this team is what it is at this point. I don't know what that means as far as playoffs are concerned. I don't know what that means as far as A&M is concerned, but I do know at the end of the day, this is where they're standing.
All right, we do have super chats in here. We can grab a couple of these if y'all want. The Google Scholar back in with $4.99. I don't know if it's good enough next week or the week or the next week maybe, but it was good enough today. Good enough gets the job done every time.
We got like a $50 one we should probably go to.
I did not see the $50 one, but I appreciate that. Hang on.
Okay. Yeah, Google Scholar's right, though. But, yeah.
If you can see it, Catch, put it up. I do not see a $50 super chat. So if you see it, throw it up. We had 3 of those earlier, and there it is. Oh, beautiful. From Barb's 10, $49.99. I did mark that one. My bad, Barb's. Catch, I get it, but Quinn touches the ball more than any player, so he is at a minimum partially responsible for the W's. 2 to 3 passes hit. He's great. Let's appreciate that defensive performance more for handling that highly touted offense. And then
great watch with you, Chad.
Great watch with you, Chad. Great to see you too, Barb's 10. I sat right by.
Barb's was here today?
Yeah, Barb's 10. I sat right by him watching the game today. It was good to hang out with him. Yeah, so there you go.
I would have known that. I would come up and introduce myself.
Yeah, so I'm trying to grasp the kind of exact point here. Catch, you get where he's going here?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, he's basically saying that Quinn gets some credit for the win today, which I agree with.
2 or 3 of those passes, he's great. Well, that's true, but ifs and buts.
I mean, if my aunt had balls, right. She'd be my uncle, right?
There it is. There it is.
I knew it was in there somewhere. I couldn't get it.
Well, and yes, and thank you, Barb's. And again, great to see you today. Somebody else threw this in earlier, just a quick reference to a past game. I'll get y'all's thoughts, but some S. Roan said, did this remind you of the 2004 game against Arkansas? Vince and a 22-20 victory, I think is what that one was. Catch, we talked about that game this week. That's the game that you got to see live, correct?
Yeah, this game wasn't anything like that. Like the end of that game in 2004, a better Texas team, maybe, at least the way they're playing down the stretch. Arkansas was driving to win that game in the final 2 minutes, and a Larry Dibble's forced fumble saved that game. Texas won comfortably today. I mean, in the end, Arkansas was never driving to win the game. When Texas scores the touchdown to put them back up 10, Arkansas never responds. So even when Quinn Ewers converts the fourth down to give them the first down that allows them to run out the clock, even if he hadn't gotten it, Arkansas would have been getting the ball back down 10 with 2 minutes to go. Was it completely comfortable? Probably not. But in the end, there was real jeopardy in the 0-4 game. And this team did enough that in the end, it wasn't scary. It wasn't like when the 2-minute warning came, it wasn't like, oh, God, we barely even called the plays. We're like, oh, they're running the clock out. Whereas that Arkansas 2004 game, you know, people would have been shitting diamonds. That's how close it was if there'd been a YouTube show back in 2004.
Yeah, it's true. S. Roan, thank you for that super chat. Also, Sandman, thank you for this check-in. Apparently, Florida's up 7-0 on LSU. Sometimes that S in LSU does stand for sloppy. You never know.
You know what's crazy too, Catch, just in watching this game? How did Arkansas beat Tennessee?
I
don't know, because Tennessee's really good on defense.
Yeah,
it was a low-scoring game.
It was 19.
It was 19-14. It was a low-scoring game, but man, it's just befuddling when you look at it. Because I think it's a testament to how good, obviously, Texas's defense is. But man, that doesn't. Texas neutralized this team. This team beat Tennessee.
Can I tell you one thing that probably played a part? Whatever we want to say about what Ewers was and wasn't today, Tennessee's starting quarterback in that game was 17 of 29. Nico was 17 of 29 for 158 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, sacked 4 times. He had a 104.4 rating and a 33.4 QBR. That's significantly worse than Quinn today. So Quinn was – how did Arkansas beat Tennessee? Whatever we think Quinn was today, Tennessee got much worse quarterback play than that, and then that's how 20-10 turns into, 19-15 or whatever it was the other way.
Yeah. Arkansas threw for almost 300 yards in that game too. So.
And if I'm not mistaken, that's also a game that had no turnovers, or at least it was an even turnover margin. Today, Arkansas with the big interception. Texas stays clean and doesn't turn it over. Now Arkansas is, I think it's minus 11 in their losses in terms of turnovers. So they kept it cleanish, I think, against Tennessee as well.
Texas almost wasn't that clean with Jaden Blue.
No, it's true. Yeah, that was close. Thankfully. So you guys would appreciate this. A Texas fan that was watching with us said they've never been glad to see the color of Arkansas more than that sideline when the ball rolled out of the sideline. So that wasn't a turnover for Texas. Super chat 1999. Jason's back in. Jason, we love you. We love you. We have scored 7 less points in the SEC than A&M, even though they have an unsettled quarterback position and a tougher schedule. Sark is the head coach OC and needs to answer for its shortcomings.
That's shocking. I have not done that math. Jason, I want to trust that your math is accurate. That's shocking to me if Texas has scored 7 fewer than A&M with A&M's quarterback situation.
Jason, again, shout out to the math. There you go. I don't know.
Jason really wants that quarterback change, and he really wants Sark to be accountable for some of these struggles. Yes,
hey, guys, one of the things that, and I'm going to write about this tomorrow in my 10 thoughts from the weekend. If you believe that Texas doesn't make the SEC championship game if it loses to A&M, then the entire season's on the line in College Station. If they were to lose at A&M and miss the playoffs, this season will have been a failure. They're third in the country right now, and they're 2 weeks away from potentially, I think, being judged in those type of terms. Whereas if they win, then we know they're playing for an SEC championship. It kind of reminds me of the 2013 season, Jason, when Texas goes into the season finale against Baylor. And if they win the game, they win Big 12 championship. And if they lose, Mac Brown got fired. Mm-hmm. It feels like it's been a long time, and since will have been a regular season game where the stakes of everything are as high as maybe they'll be against the Aggies. They really have to win that game. I think they really jeopardize themselves if they don't. And I think that's the part onward. I think that's the anxiety that people feel today. Is deep down, they know the game at College Station will be more difficult. And the last thing in the world that anybody would have wanted today was a more difficult opponent on a day when on offense you weren't hitting big strides.
Yeah, I mean, that game that's the game to get in. You know, not only the SEC championship game, I mean, maybe the game to get in the playoffs.
Yep.
If we're just being quite honest with you. So, because at the end of the day, they're going to look. The thing that's helping Texas is that they're winning. But to your point, when Georgia lost, you know that they dropped. The thing that will work against Texas if they lose is that everyone's going to say they went through the season and didn't have a win against a team that's ranked in the top 25 at the end of the year. That maybe where it at the time, sure, maybe Michigan was ranked at the time, Oklahoma was ranked, right? Those things were true at the time. Vanderbilt was ranked, but the committee is going to say, okay, they don't have a team. And look, there's national people who are talking about that already, who started on that. You know, Texas hasn't played anybody. Texas hasn't defeated anybody. That body has to be Texas A&M, and if they don't do that, then all bets are off for everything. You know, especially if they don't make it. So they don't make it to the SEC. If they don't make it to the SEC championship game, the committee's already told us that they're not going to penalize teams unless they get blown out. They're not going to penalize a team that made it to a conference championship game and lost. Those teams are going to get more than likely get in unless they just get embarrassed, which is kind of hard to do. But that's going to be a thing. So they've got to make it to the conference championship game, and which means they have to beat Texas A&M. If they don't, then all bets are off for everything after that.
All right, fellas, we got a group of super chats. Onward, just double checking. Do you have any kind of time constraints in terms of getting out of there? Do we need to let you go at some point?
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, just checking. All right.
Thank you.
All right, so back to $5. Pete K. Maybe he didn't need Gary P. After all.
Good job, Whoa.
That's well done. Well done.
Yes.
Fellas, specifically one play, I mentioned Kwiatkowski to somebody sitting next to me. That blitz of Jahdae Barron right into Taylor Green's face, that was a great call. And obviously we've talked about Barron doing everything on the stat sheet today, but I enjoyed watching this defense today. Anwar, I thought it was just a great showcase for them. Honestly, at 10-0, I had a feeling of this defense is not going to let them lose today. They just had that feel of them. I know they gave up a little, but especially, and like Ket said, once they get to the 2010. But I mean, this defense had a feel about it for most of this game of we're not going to let this team get us.
I think I don't want to speak for Jason, but I know I just always do a bunch of shows with Ketch, and I don't know people who had more empathy for Pete K when Gary Patterson came on board than and probably Jason to a certain degree, because it was like literally people like, when's he going to get fired so they can get Gary Patterson in here? Probably by week 6 they're going to have to fire him and put in Gary Patterson. And then Texas had a little success and like, look, it's all Gary Patterson. And it was messed up. Like, Texas fans did Pete K dirty. They really made it seem like Gary was the answer. And so I'm happy actually that the defense is excelling and he can at least get that credit that he deserves. Some people maybe say Nansen has a good influence on that as well. But no, he's done the thing. They've grown. They developed the talent. That this is a defense that has traveled and done well. This team has won. What is this? This is their 10th straight road game, I think, at this moment. So,
10, yeah,
it's 10 straight, and that has a lot to do with the defense. And they came in here, and of course, Arkansas had like a little bit of moment, a little drive. They came awake for a little bit. And then Texas just went ahead and then shut that thing down. They got up 20-10, and they got 20-10. Alfred Collins gets the sack, causes the fumble. Taft recovers it, and it's kind of over from there. And Texas kind of does what they do. So this defense is, for Texas to have any chance. I know we're in an offensive world, but the defense has been lights out.
Man, yeah, would have played by 95 there. By the way, Hooked on the Horns, $5, throws in the super chat and does some work for us. The Horns have now won 10 consecutive road games, as Anwar just mentioned. Longest road winning streak since 15 in a row from 03 to 06. And we all know what was going on in that time period for Texas. Obviously, a golden age for the Longhorn football program. So there you go, 10 straight wins, 15. I guess, I don't know if that's the all-time record. We have to look that part up, but all the way back to early 2000s, the last time that it happened. Hooked, thank you for looking that up. It is now 10 straight true road games for Texas. Here is, speaking of defense, Tyler throws in a $5 super chat. Our defense sucks offensive souls for breakfast. A lot better than the Todd Orlando day. Oh, my God. LOL. Quinn has to be better past 20 yards. Hashtag get better, not regress. Tyler, I did not expect a Todd Orlando shout out in a post game today, but wow. There you have it. Anybody got a comment?
Hey, by the way, speaking of like blast from the past, Catcher, that Florida Atlantic is playing Temple today?
Really?
Yes. Ooh. And both of those squads are 2-7. I think they started at 1:00. But yes, Stan Drayton versus Tom Herman, and both of them had 2-7 teams. I don't know what the score is, but I'm fascinated to see who wins that game.
That'd be a fun conversation in midfield.
And Anwar, I didn't even think of that. The thing that
7-6 in the third quarter, guys. Florida Atlantic's up 7-6 in the third quarter.
Damn.
Offensive juggernaut Tom Herman and
Anwar. What I was thinking of was, it's crazy to think where all of those coaches are from that Herman staff. They're all, other than I guess Drayton, who has a head coaching job at. He has one of the worst head coaching jobs in the country, but he has one. But man, there's not anybody that is a rising star anymore from that group. Not Todd Orlando, not anybody.
Who was that offensive line coach?
Maddox.
Maddox was at the end. Who's
Joe
the other
Wickline?
Wickline, yeah. Wickline.
God, yeah. Buzz cut.
Yeah,
it was not a good group.
7-6 late in the third quarter.
That's amazing.
Thanks for the update, Jason.
We're going to need you to keep that up and update us on that one now.
Can you put that up in the TCH social? Hey guys.
Actually, they've asked us
for you.
we asked them if we could put it on Anwar. They asked us to leave as soon as we wanted to put that one on. Speaking of TCH Social, Austin, Brad says $9.99 for jellyfish funding for the boys. Salud. Thank you, Brad. I did have a jellyfish today. Remember, $1 draft, $2 jellyfish. The specials start an hour before kick and run till an hour after the game is over. So next week, 1:30 is when those specials will start for Texas and Kentucky. Come on out and see us at TCH Social Austin. Brad, thank you for the jellyfish fund. It will go to good use. It will go to good use. James with a $9.99. Play calling is still blowing my mind. Don't abandon the run, but Archie pass D is terrible. We shouldn't have not one receiver over 50 yards. In my opinion, it's a waste of talent and matchup by Sark.
Yeah, Isaiah Bond, leading receiver, 4 catches, 48 yards. Didn't see that coming. I thought this would be a game where Quinn might go for 300 plus. It turns out Texas actually runs the ball fairly well. And, the receptions were spread out. Bond 4 for 48. Bolden 333, Gunnar Helm 3 for 32. Gunnar probably would have got over 50 if he didn't drop that one. Wisner 323, Jake Blue 3 for 19, Golden 2 for 21 and touchdowns. But they spread it out quite a bit. But yeah, those numbers were certainly lower than I
Oh my God, I'm looking at my prize picks right now. I'm going to. I'm going to close this app.
Yeah, close it. That's bad. Don't look, Anwar. Don't look.
I should have done the less in every single one, and I would have hit.
Well, and Jason made this point earlier. Anwar, Catch, I want to get your thoughts on it because I think I maybe would disagree with the basis of what James is saying here. Is it true that they did not pick on the 124th best pass defense the way we might have expected? Obviously. But is it because of play calling? Like, is that where you guys would put the blame? Did you feel like the play calling didn't allow them to do it? Or was it the execution that didn't allow them to do it? Anwar?
Yes.
Yes, all of that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lack of execution for sure because there were times the guys were open and that those guys were missed. So there is that. But yes, there's lack of execution and it's a play call. And then Sark basically felt like, okay, this thing is not happening. We're just going to focus on the run. And Sark also says that, hey, they only had 4 offensive possessions in the second half. And he feels like that had something to do with their lack of offense a little bit, but he did feel like they were at least efficient.
Okay. So, Catch, for you maybe put both of those things out there. You saw some play calling issues as well, not just the missing of receivers or whatever.
I just think when you do I'm thinking back to the third down, like a little jet sweep they ran to, was it DeAndre Moore? That just got obliterated. And it's man, when you operate your offense we always talk about, or at least I do, like, you know, one thing you don't want from this offense is playing too much in a phone booth. That one of the reasons why it's important to stretch teams out at least a little bit is that you just don't have so many defenders near the line of scrimmage within 5 yards of the ball. And, you know, I thought Texas got punished today at times. There was not enough room to operate. And there were plays to be made down the field. Texas really didn't hit those. There were a couple of balls that Ewers threw that were kind of deep intermediate balls, and he just floated those passes as opposed to kind of dropping the hand. I mean, we know that Quinn Ewers can throw the hell out of a football. There were a couple of times when, well, he's a bad floater. That's not what he does well. And he doesn't do it well down the field, but he doesn't do it in the intermediate either. He's much better when he's really putting something on the ball. And I thought today, you know, you could see it. There were too many passes to the perimeter today that it just felt like Arkansas was getting great jumps on. That there was almost a pick six at one point early in the game when he threw an out route towards, I think, the Arkansas sideline. And, it was the ball that ends up getting bobbled into Wingo's hands that he doesn't hold on for the touchdown. But, boy, on another day, that could have been going the other direction real fast. So, you know, I look, last week Quinn Ewers was really good, and they got guys in space, and the receivers made yards. And today that was a lot more difficult to do. And I just think everything can be better. It's not, Texas doesn't have a Quinn Ewers problem. They have an offensive problem. And inside of that, Ewers is one of the factors for why this offense wasn't hitting on all cylinders today. I thought it was really interesting. The sideline reporter, I can't remember who it was today.
It was Katie George. Is that right?
Okay, I wouldn't have remembered that if you'd given me 10 guesses.
I believe it was Katie.
But good job, Katie, because she talks to Sark at halftime, and she says one of the things that they've got the two things that Texas needed to do coming out of halftime, they needed to run the ball better, and they needed to complete passes on first and second down. Well, in the third quarter, Quinn Ewers was 1 of 4, and the only pass he completed was the ball to Trey Wisner that caused every one of us with prize picks to lose their mind over. You know, they didn't really run the ball that well in the third quarter either. They did a much better job of it in the fourth quarter. But it was interesting to hear her come out and say, this is what Steve Sarkeesian just told me they have to do better of coming out of halftime. And it didn't happen coming out of halftime. It really took till the fourth quarter. And again, I think Sarkeesian will be really pleased that game goes 13-10. Texas gets the ball back. And that was the best version of Ewers that we saw all day long. It's probably the best version of the running game. That 75-yard drive was the single, I think, biggest thing that you'd want to hang your hat on if you're Sarkeesian, that we're on the road, we're in a difficult environment and circumstances. Right when the crowd was getting into it, we asserted our will and won the game. But, you know, they're going to – certainly against Texas A&M, Texas won't be able to wait till the fourth quarter to be pretty good. It's just going to take a more complete performance. Everybody knows, I think, is understanding now of the stakes of that game, even more so than we've talked about it a million times for the last 12 months. But the closer we get to that game, the bigger the stakes are. And it'll take a real quality performance. And it'll take one that was better, I think, across the board, as well as the defense played. They'll have to do that again. I think, you know, you probably would have liked to have seen Texas turn Arkansas over a couple of more times, but, you know, they got two big ones. So it's really nitpicking the defense. The defense was championship level. Could they be a little bit better? Yes. Offense has got to be better.
All right, we got 11 super chats we will hammer through right after you hear from Specs. Get all stocked up. Tennessee and Georgia are going to kick tonight.
Specs same-day delivery can save the day with our Specs app or online shopping. From world-class wines to hard-to-find spirits and craft beers to gourmet foods, delicious snacks, and spectacular sweets. It's Specs. Cheers to savings.
And remember that Texas-Kentucky kick is a 2:30 kick next Saturday afternoon. Let's roll through some super chats here. And it is Cadero. I like that name. $4.99. Just win, baby. Hook 'em with the emoji. A win at Arkansas is a win at Arkansas. Cadero is enjoying that today. We also got Roger in for a 5 spot. Tennessee lost to Arkansas. Ole Miss lost to Kentucky. Bama lost to Vanderbilt. This is the SEC. You win and move on. Thank you, Roger. It's true.
I can understand where Roger's coming from.
It's true.
Actually, that's a good
It doesn't mean
point.
Texas couldn't have played better today.
Actually, that's a good point.
Yep. And right now, of course, Texas is in that spot, that catbird seat, if you will. It is just as simple as win any way you can, and you get to go to Atlanta to fight for an SEC title in your first season. That's the situation they're in for now.
Before you go to the next super chat, if Tennessee loses tonight, what happens for them as far as the SEC is concerned, Chad?
They'll fall into that big group, that group tie. But in the end, the short way to say it is Bama and LSU are going to have the strength of schedule that would put them in. If there's a big old group, and like Texas or Texas A&M, and it could be that one of those teams just goes to Atlanta. But yeah, it's going to be a big old group at 2. Bama's going to have the best strength of schedule, and then I think it's LSU that would be next.
And if they lose, and I don't know who's playing who, but you'd have Georgia with 2 losses, Ole Miss with 2 losses, Alabama with 2 losses, Missouri 2 losses, LSU 2 losses, and then Tennessee with 2 losses.
And if it's that many, Anwar, head-to-heads don't matter because you won't have enough. You won't have it. You're not going to have enough common opponents. That's not going to make sense because there's just too many teams. So it's going to go to strength of schedule.
You know what's going to happen, Catch? The SEC is never going to go to a 9-game conference schedule. This is too much. There's too much risk for their guys not to make the playoffs, and adding in another game where they can be. No. This is the test, and they're going to go. No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that and make it tougher.
Anwar, I've been saying that for years, and I think this is going to be a better example of it. They want to present the committee with a bunch of 10-2 teams if they can, whether it's for first place, second place, playoff seedings, or whatever. Like, we'll figure out Atlanta, but here's a big old group of teams. Y'all say no to whoever you want to, but we think you'll say yes to like 4 of them for sure, and maybe 5.
The only thing a 9-game conference schedule would do is it might take away this scenario where we got 5 teams that are tied for that second SEC championship.
Right.
But hey, like almost said, money talks. So they want more teams in the playoffs.
I was going to say, Jason, you don't think the SEC is fishing for the truth when it comes to football at the end, do you? They're fishing for money, man. Money and clout. All right. The next super chat is a $4.99er from Bogey King. Oh, look at that. Steven got his own logo or her own logo. Quinn won't win this team an SEC title or natty. We've seen enough to know he's a very average quarterback. Sark protects yours with the play calling. Wow. Very average.
I mean, here's the deal. I mean, at the end of the day, Boogie King, by the way, I kind of like that. Play off of a Burger King. Clearly his nickname is Boogie.
Isn't that bogey like golf? It's not boogie, is it?
I think it's bogey.
You think it's Bogey King?
Just 1 O, right? That'd be a bogey king.
Oh, so you think it's Boogie, huh?
I think it's a self-deprecating.
Onward, you can now take Boogie King for yourself.
I think it's a self-deprecating.
I like Boogie King if he doesn't have it.
because that way it's like a self-deprecating golf joke. Because if it was Boogie, it'd be Boogie, right?
Oh, okay. Well, it should have been Boogie King because Boogie King would have been better.
Boogie King is better. You're right.
That's fine with the Boogie King. Here's the thing that at the end of the day, they're only 2 wins away from being in the SEC championship game, which win or lose, that's a pretty damn impressive feat. Where most people were thinking like, can Texas handle? It's funny, people went from saying, can Texas handle the SEC? Are they ready to? Man, Texas got a really easy schedule in the SEC. Like, wait a second,
right?
What? How did that switch? How did that go from? Man, I don't even know if they can handle this thing to like. They really made it easy for them. Okay, I'm just saying they're pretty close.
Oklahoma fans are like, you're goddamn right. They gave them an easy schedule.
Yeah. Oklahoma fans and Florida fans can say that all they want. All they want, Catch. Oscar back in with a $4.99. If they can't get it done with Arch. Oh, yeah. Can't get it done with Quinn. Arch ain't going to get it done. GTFO. Him playing against Mississippi State doesn't mean jack. Wow. Oscar a little fired up about quarterbacks at the end of this.
Arch just caught a stray, just hanging there minding his own business.
Oscar just like throwing shade at the whole quarterback room. None of them can get it done. Oscar, be honest. Did you have lunch with Trey Owens at some point?
That's not what he said, though. He said if they can't get it done with Quinn. He's not saying that Quinn can't get it done. He's just saying Arch wouldn't.
I see. Okay. All right. I got you. Okay. I see. All right, Oscar. Good to see you there. $4.99. We appreciate you. Thank you for throwing in. Thanks to AT.
I'll reiterate, Chad, the best quarterback on the team's not playing right now.
Okay. Yeah. You mentioned that earlier, and I think there's some folks in the chat that might agree with you on that. We saw ATX Bates here. I think ATX Bates is the one person I can verify has been to all of our watch parties at TCH Social Austin. Shout out to you, Bates. $4.99. Quinn needs the glasses from Charlie Sheen in Major League. #wild thing. What? You think he's not seeing the receivers because he's got a vision problem? Is this? Guys, help me. Who was the defensive back that Charlie Strong couldn't see? What was that guy's name? Y'all remember him? Where Charlie walked in and said, we just hadn't realized that dude couldn't see. So we had to, I can't remember his name. Somebody will tell us in the chat. That's the closest I've ever come to laughing out loud at a press conference. I'm like, did the head coach just say they just found out a DB couldn't see? What in the world? It was like Jimbo and Jameis at Florida State. Anyway, thank you, Bates, for that idea. The skull glasses from Wild Thing there. John with a $4.99er. Maybe John Lynch. Oh, maybe the GM of the Niners. Quinn needs to be better, yes, but missed. Whoa, help me, guys. Missed PI in the end zone. Could have easily been 17 if we don't kneel. Odd drops feel like more positive than negative. I mean, I would agree with that. You won by 10 at Arkansas, and your defense looked damn good. And when he needed to, Quinn looked pretty good, and that offense made plays. I agree with that last part, fellas.
More positive than negative? Yeah, I'd say so. Not only negative, really, is honestly just the passing game seemed a bit off for most of this game.
Yeah.
It's a win. You move on.
Catch, you're shaking your head.
Well, if you force me to go 1% more than the other, I would say that I'm probably more negative because this won't be good enough in College Station. And Steve Sarkeesian is the one that talks about this team needing to play to a bar. That it's not about the opponents that they play, because the guys they practice against every day in most cases are better than the teams they play against. So the way you win championships is to establish a high bar, and then you play to that level week in and week out. That's what makes a championship team. I don't disagree with any of the positives. They're all true. I just think that, and it doesn't matter. It's a win. And in 12 months from now, or 3 months from now, or even 3 weeks from now, we won't look back on today and it won't matter. All that will matter is they won. But in real time, that was a one-score game in the fourth quarter against a team that was begging to be blown out today. Arkansas was begging to be blown out. And Texas found themselves in a one-score game in the fourth quarter against a team that otherwise had been begging to be blown out. But yeah, it's a win. And Ottawa's not wrong. You win and you move on. But otherwise, why even do a post-game show if that's all we're going to say? So I'm a little more negative than positive, but I understand all the positives.
Yeah, we've all seen this kind of a football game before, but sometimes you're watching a 13-0 football game and you think, my God, it could be like 28. It could be, and that's sort of what it felt like.
And that was one of the worst pass interference penalties I've seen this year, period. Whether NFL or college, that was an egregious pass interference penalty that wasn't called.
Never tried to look for the ball.
And it was Golden, right? Was that Golden?
Yeah.
And fellas, can you think of anything he should have done differently? I watched that, I'm like, that's exactly what I want my receiver to do.
Come back. He could have been a little more aggressive.
Right.
He did reach back. Whatever.
The guy interfered, didn't make a play on the ball, didn't know where the ball was. It was an obvious. It was an egregious non-call.
That was bad. I totally agree with you. All right, let's go to Brian here with a 499. Defense continues to play at a level to win. The offense continues to not do their part. It starts with QB1. At some point, the quarterback has to be a dog. Brian, in his defense, would the dog time maybe be like a fourth down conversion to let him go to victory formation after throwing a touchdown pass to go up 10 after throwing a big conversion, a couple big passes on a drive? Can we argue that there was a little bit of –
He was a dog in the fourth quarter. He played well in the fourth quarter. You got to give viewers that.
Right? We got to give him the credit for closing the door. Right?
But, hey, he was also a big part of the reason they had to close the door in the fourth quarter.
So. That's fair, too.
But he was I wouldn't say Quinn's not a dog, in the sense that he means it. Because if that were the case, Quinn would have just folded in the fourth quarter. So, I like that Quinn played his best when it mattered the most, but, the other stuff matters too. But I would suggest that I think the offense did their part today. I think that's a little harsh.
Yeah. Anwar, how much credit do you give them for closing that thing up? Because I was impressed. I thought that complimentary football Sark always talks about, defense made a stop, offense went and made it 10 points. And to me, as an outside observer, I had the exhale for all the Texas fans around me, okay, now you got it. I didn't know if you had it, but now you got it at 20-10.
I think this is my 11th season of covering UT. You know how many bad teams I've seen throughout my tenure being here at Texas? So honestly, it don't matter to me. I'm just going to tell you, my lens is so much different because I don't care how they win. Do you telling me I'm doing post-game shows off of wins? Making Nick Oker. I have seen so much bad football. I've seen 3 teams that literally were not bowl eligible. I literally was able to make plans to go to Houston, to go to the Alamo Bowl every single year. Maybe Houston to go to the Texas Bowl. One time. It's actually, I've only 2 times since I've been here traveled to a bowl game outside of the state of Texas. 2 times.
Wow.
2 times. Okay. So to fast forward to your point, I don't give a damn. If you don't think he's a German Shepherd and you think he's a Yorkie, if they win, so be it. That's all I got to say.
Hey, speaking of San Antonio, Brian, I think is Alfaro from San Antonio. Hopefully, I'll see you guys soon down there.
I was going to say, hey, Jason, I think it's funny that I just said that I was more negative than positive. Mm-hmm. And then Brian puts his post up there, and I'm like, whoa, Brian, too much, too far.
And if anyone had the Anwar doing the Yorkie bark in the postgame on your bingo card, congratulations to you. I did not have that on my bingo card, but that was fantastic. That must be my.
I did buy my girl a Yorkie several months ago, so that's probably why it's on my mind.
Oh, it was a personal thing. You can see
there was definitely. You
went to the Yorkie for a reason.
We can't underrate that. Last time Anwar was in that stadium,
it was bad. I'm talking. Look, last time I was in the stadium, we learned that it was the end of Hudson Card's career at Texas. For all intents and purposes, this was it. Like, they threw in Casey Thompson in the end of the third quarter, and then Casey had a good little run. It was an ass-kicking proportions. I remember a lot of ass-kickings, right? The TCU ass-kicking happened. I remember this ass-kicking happening, and it's personal for me, right? Because I will once again fall on my sword. The coach was like, Arkansas is different. I'm like, Catch, Arkansas is a 3-win team, man. What the hell are you talking about, Arkansas? They won 3 games the previous year. They suck. They are trash. It's trash. Came here. Had no expect. Went and visited those few years ago. Went and visited the Walmart Museum. I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. But I was like, I'm going to see Texas kick this team's ass. That's what I'm getting the ass kicked. So when we walk out of here, I'm like, man, you could have put me on the plane and I would have been partying with all those guys on there too. I'm like 20-10.
You're darn right.
Man, what was his QBR? What was it? Oh, man, 129.3. Almost at 130. You almost had it, buddy. Let's go party.
20-10. That is all that really matters.
Hudson Card today for Purdue, 2 of 7 for 36 yards.
Oh, he is horrible.
Anwar, you said end of his career at Texas. I was thinking kind of end of his career, period, really, for being honest. And big update here, guys. I know this is what everybody's waiting for. Temple with the touchdown. They've taken the lead 12-7 over Florida Atlantic midway through the fourth.
Okay, so they went for 2.
Midway through the fourth.
Must have either that or gone for 2.
They're in the fourth, huh?
Midway through the fourth.
Where's this game taking place at?
It's at Temple. Temple's the home team.
Because all intents and purposes, the loser of this game gets fired potentially fired at the end of the season. Maybe not Tom.
Well, the winner hires the loser back? Like, how does that work?
They're both at this rate. They're both are going to be analysts at somewhere the way they're headed.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think Tom would actually coach again. To be quite honest with you.
By the way, guys, before we wrap up these super chats, weird connection. That game, Anwar, that you saw in 2021. I didn't realize this until today. The running back for Arkansas, one of the main running backs that day, was that Rock Sanders dude, and he just busted the Aggies up for South Carolina. I had no idea it was the same guy. So you talk about a dude with a Texas problem. Man, he's got some issues with the state. I didn't realize that, but now he is the running back at South Carolina. All right, J.S. Hookem jumping in with a 199. Great show, guys. Oh, buy or sell. Megan Good, hotter than Tori Wilson.
I don't know who either of those people are.
Okay.
This is a catch and eye conversation.
This might be a perfect Anwar.
This is a catch and eye conversation.
What are you doing, fellas?
I'm Googling them as you guys.
Yes, you Google. You do research.
Megan, this is interesting because I like the fact that we're mixing up. I like a little mixed race buy or sell.
Oh, and it's a hell of a battle. It is a hell of a battle because at their best, these two are elite for me. Elite.
I mean, you should know Megan Good from Californication.
I never watched it.
Oh, Megan Good
and Wilson.
Megan Good. Yeah, there's your Tori Wilson. That's correct. That's Tori Wilson's.
I'm going to go sell. I'm going Tori Wilson. There's Megan.
Wilson based on the
Is it prime on prime? Because I could argue that Megan Good's prime on prime is really stellar. But
if we want to,
I think Tori Wilson's had a longer, greater career.
I tell you what, let's go. If we're going, let's go face value. We're going to face value. JS Hookem. If you're buy or sell, Megan Good hotter than Tori Wilson. I don't see a prime on prime. So if it's today, it's Megan Good. That's a buy.
It's a buy. It's Megan Good. She's so where to say she looks so good you can sop her up with a biscuit, boy. That's how good she looks.
She's beautiful. And Catch is right. If y'all haven't seen Californication and you love good nasty television, man, she's epic in that show. Thank you, JS Hookem, for maybe the best super chat of the I'll just say it for the group. $4.99 from Taylor was at the game today. The rivalry hate overplayed big. Fans were not loud, and the atmosphere was lame.
You know what? Yes, it's funny you say. I text Catch that before the game. And I was like, really? This thing is not how it was before. Like, so here's the deal. So, and I don't know if it's because it was a morning game as opposed to an evening game. I remember driving up to the stadium, and I was like, I got caught in this massive traffic that was going into the stadium, and it took me a while to really get to the parking garage. So when I left my hotel this morning, I remember thinking to myself, I kind of got about 10 minutes down the road. I was like, oh, shit, I'm going to have to sit in that traffic again. Man, that's going to suck. I didn't have any traffic. I went right to my parking garage. I walked up. It was quiet. You know, people were out there tailgating and this and that. The stadium, it was not 2021 at all. It was not 20. It did not have that same feel.
Morning game, and Texas jumped on them early, right? I mean, I'm sure it probably got loud there when they cut it to a one.
Yeah, it got a little loud. I mean, all I can say is their DJ is fantastic. They have they have a DJ. Like, if you watch any of my pregame videos or anything, like that DJ was on point. Like he had Jeff Banks was bopping his head. Sark was rapping to the lyrics and bopping his head. Like all the coaches were hype. Like they have a fantastic DJ here, but the other part of the atmosphere, not so much.
Hey guys, we talked about it when those schedules, not when the schedule came out, but when they scheduled this as an 11 o'clock catch, we talked about what a gift that was for Texas. And if you're an Arkansas fan, be pissed off because you wanted a night kick, you wanted an afternoon kick. So another thing, as we talk about this theme of this game, is it going to be good enough when you go to College Station? We do know, fellas, that College Station ain't going to be an 11 a.m. Minimum 2:30. It's 2:30 or later for sure, so that part will be different. So yeah, if you're an Arkansas fan walking out, you wanted that later kick and you didn't get it. Taylor, safe travels home.
Stop the show, Chad.
Yes,
I changed my vote. It's Megan Good.
Fair enough. That's fair. I agree with you. I agree.
That's so random.
Because again, Catch,
I just needed to remind myself.
Go back through the pictures. Go back through the pictures. Yeah.
Catch, you say words matter. You always say words matter, and I did not see the words prime on prime. So that means he meant today. And today there is no discussion for me. You want to go prime on prime? It's a different discussion.
I think I would go both prime on. I'm looking at a young Megan Good.
Mm-hmm.
She's first look, the prettiness factor comes in, and I don't want to be insulting to Tori Wilson, but Megan Good is more naturally beautiful. And I think the bodies are similar enough that I can't help but prettiness impacts the hotness. I can't help it.
That is the kind of breakdown you expect on the Orange Bloods live post-game show, brought to you by the good folks at the Lowy Law Firm. Shout out to TCH Social Austin as well. That is where Jason and I are right now. Let's clean up these last super chats. $5 from S. Roan again. The 04 thing. We did that one, the 04 game. Texas did get that win, just like they got this win. And this would be greatness, $4.99. Quinn needs to be the one holding the Microsoft Surface. Oh, Lord. Give Arch the keys already. I can live with a redshirt freshman making these mistakes.
You have 2 games left in the season. It's not going to happen.
I said it before you came on, Omar. I said no coach in America would make that.
No, like people cannot hold on to the Nick Saban. You know he benched such in the chip. Okay, that's one time. That is the anomaly. It's like every 6th round quarterback who's drafted is not going to become Tom Brady, right? There's certain things that happens once in a blue moon. Sark, if he wanted to make a change, he could have done it. He's not going to do that. This is your guy. He's not going to go, you know what, going into Texas A&M, I've decided to do a quarterback change. I'm He's not going to do that going into like the last game of the season or second to last game of the season. You know, conference championship game. I know I've had Quinn for the last 3 years, but it's time to give Arch a chance. Like that's just not going to be.
That's probably not. Yeah, that's fair.
And that's nothing but love for you, by the way, brother.
Greatness. Thank you for that. Also, Brian, thank you for $9.99, just a $10 10 spot. Goodness of your heart. Thank you so much for throwing something in the old tip jar. A couple more real quick. $1.99. Let's see if that Yorkie beats the collie. Fair enough, Brian. That's fair. Shout out to all Yorkies, collies, and dogs everywhere. And finally, fellas, Barb's 10 throws in a wacky ending here. $9.99. Why are we acting like A&M is a juggernaut or model of efficiency and can't S the bed? They beat Bowling Green by 6, Arkansas by 4. Anyone can take an L. How good was WCW with Torrey and Keebler at the same time?
Oh, I do know Keebler. I do know Keebler because I remember Ketch was obsessed with her. So
Barb's just snapped off a curveball, like right at the end.
Boom. Keebler lives in Austin now.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
I'll be honest with you, Barb's 10. I'm not sure if I remember when Torrey and Keebler were in WCW at the same time. I remember them in WWE at the same time. I'm not sure if I remember the WCW days, but hey, there you are. And then as far as A&M being a juggernaut, I don't know that anyone is acting like A&M is a juggernaut. Barb's 10. I think that's a
little bit like Oscar's comment. You just invented that. Nobody said that.
Nobody, right. No, I've not heard anyone use the word juggernaut. Man, you know what that A&M team is? They're a juggernaut. Barb's 10. They just went to Columbia and got 44 hung on them. 44.
All we've said is that this performance might not be good enough to get it done in College Station. That is not that's like a transfer of properties there. That is not saying that A&M is a juggernaut. It's actually it's worse than what you think, because I think they could lose to a non-juggernaut A&M team if they mess around and find out.
Well, let me
hold on. C note came in.
Uh-oh. Hang on. Hold on 1 second. Oh, there it is. Thank you, Anwar. Benjamin Blackwell, with a name that feels like $100, doesn't it? Benjamin Blackwell.
Gave it to Benjamin.
He should send 100 every time. Let's get something started. Great show, guys. Hey, you know what, Benjamin? Well done. Let's get it.
I don't know what he wants to get started, but we can do it.
Let's see it get started. I dare someone.
Tom G, come on now. Where's Tom G?
I dare all of you.
Everybody's out there. Get it done. But Jason, you just made we'll leave that 99.99.
Oh yeah, Benjamin gets to keep that up there unless somebody wants to knock him off.
But Jason, you just made the reference about maybe it is good enough. Let me throw that out to all three of you guys. If I give you the basic pattern of this game, defense plays like that, offense does things when they need to, and you do not turn the football over. If you pack all that for College Station, are you telling me you wouldn't take that? You just said you think this could work in College Station.
I don't think A&M is that great of a team, so I think a fairly average performance, depending on which A&M team shows up. But I think if Texas plays like they do today in College Station, it's a fourth quarter game. Probably, they may be ahead.
I think not having Le'Veon Moss, Jason's a big deal. Like, I think that's a real blessing for Texas.
The quarterback plays so I mean, listen, A&M's not that good of a team. I don't care what the record says.
So catching on, where would you?
Is legit. And if Texas goes in and plays offense against that A&M defense, the way they did against Arkansas today, they'll be in a game. By the way, I don't even know what this means. Benjamin, I'll put you back up. Larry, the GM, says that you, speaking to me, are acting like they are juggernaut. What does that mean to act like they are a juggernaut?
You know what I've always thought Ketch's big problem is? He thinks A&M's way better than they actually are. That has always been Ketch's problem.
Larry, what does it mean to act like something is a juggernaut? Because I don't even remember us discussing the Aggies today.
Oh no, you have said that what they did today won't be good enough, that they'll lose.
Right, but I think
to be fair,
that's not calling
A&M. Not me complimenting A&M.
No,
that's not. Yeah, that was
it's
more.
you have said, and I think to be clear, I think you've said it may not be good enough in College Station. That won't be, and then a lot of the chatters have said the same thing. But yes, I haven't heard anybody say A&M is a juggernaut. No one. Or acting like it. I have also not been looking at Anwar sitting in that press box and thought, Anwar's saying one thing, but I feel like he thinks A&M's a juggernaut. I have not had that thought.
Tom
here we
G
go.
responded though. Tom G's not going to be one upped.
Come on, hang on.
Tom
Hold
G.
on.
Yes.
Yeah. Tom G ups it $2. Well done. Tom G in the house. The game was frustrating, but I think with the loss of Moss and our great D, we can win even with a quarterback rating of 140 to 150.
I agree.
Hey, Chad, what's
Yes,
the
sir.
number that the winning team has to score in this game?
On November 30th, 2 weeks from
Yes.
now, the number to win the game.
Does 21 win you the game?
Potentially. I was going to say 20.
I was thinking 24 when you asked the question. Man, 20 or 21 might do it if because these two defenses, boys. These two deep.
Benjamin.
Nice. Well done, Benjamin.
He agrees. He agrees with Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he's also poking with Tom. But here's the thing, though. Tom doesn't like to be one up, though. Like there's the one thing about Tom.
Yeah.
He's that guy that if he's competitive. Oh, see now you see. I'm telling you, you're gonna piss him off now. Tom's gonna drop like 500 just to shut up everybody.
Wait, what is this? Hold on.
He don't like.
Whoa, wait a minute. Hey, Tom, let's breathe, baby. There's no what are we giving up for? No, there's no reason. No, you win. Winning. No, wait, hold on.
I'm thinking about the holidays.
Hold on.
I'm thinking about the holidays, man.
Tom's like, I got a Christmas list, man.
Yeah, Tom looked at his Amazon wish list. He's like, man, I can't really do that right now.
That's
I gotta
interesting.
work.
Okay, so here's a my bad catch. Darwin said if it's Texas, 21 wins it. Sorry, this is what catches threw up. My bad. There it is. Esrone 45, $5 super chat. 27.
That sounds like a lot of points, Esron.
No,
defenses.
You think he's doing 27-25 here?
Yeah, I was gonna say, why he's doing 27. The number 27 is very important to Longhorn fans.
That gave it away.
Yeah, the heck. Right, exactly. If he doesn't put the heck in there, it's a little bit different. Yeah, my gut would say, I think certainly 24 gets it done.
But I say potentially. I mean, listen, maybe 2 weeks from now, we'll be recapping a game that's 30-27. But I mean, I think if Texas scores 20 and their defense plays the way they normally play, I think that's a winnable game for Texas.
These two defenses,
but
man.
We'll be bitching about the offense.
If these two defenses show up in full power, like the front guys, the way Texas's front is playing right now, the guys at A&M and the way they can play, the one thing I'll keep bringing it up, I'll say it all the way up to the game. The A&M defense gives up chunks that the Texas defense does not. 8 touchdowns of 40 yards or more. And the Texas defense, Anwar, you saw it live today. The thing I dig about this group is they may give up a little something, but they never give up a lot of something. They tackle soundly. They make plays. They disrupt. Alfred Collins is in everybody's way. Trey Moore is being more and more obvious. And guys at every level are making plays.
Chad, your point doesn't matter. Tom G.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well done, Tom G.
I told you. I know Tom. Tom was not going to let that shit go. Tom was not going to let
Tom
that go.
G to go 201.
Tom
Well
was
done.
like, nah, I'm not going to let this guy walk out of here thinking what we can do is solid. Just end the show for Tom right now.
Yeah. And Tom G says 28. Hey, 28, I'll agree with 28. If you get 28 on November 30th, I think you win that ball game. That's
I would strongly agree.
I would say either side, with either fan base, you sign for 28 right now. If I guarantee you that.
I mean, you can speak for A&M better than me, but I don't know if I do for A&M because Texas is capable of going 30 plus against A&M. I think I don't think A&M is capable of going.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair because the number for each might be different. Like Ketch said, especially with the Le'Veon Moss, Tom G in it to win it. You know what? But Benjamin, I believe in you. I believe in you, Benjamin. Even though it just happened, just you can just take a breath. Take a breath. I don't know that you let Tom G do that to you. I don't know if you let it happen. We will breathe. I don't think Anwar's got to catch a plane. Anwar, do you have time to wait for a $202 super chat?
No, unfortunately, I do not.
Oh, you don't.
I think that may be the knockout blow, guys.
That may be it.
Honestly, because here's what happened. I got here to the stadium, and I didn't eat any breakfast, and I got all my stuff set up, and I said to myself, okay, well, I really want to get down on the stadium. I want to get some live stuff for our website, and so I was like, I just went, I stayed down there forever. When I came back up, all the food was gone, and there were people who were actually hoarding it. Like they took like multiple portions. Like they had like some like sandwiches or something like some chicken sandwiches or something, and people like took 2 or 3. Apparently, they know that there's no food at halftime, so they just kept it. So here's my hungry ass just looking at them, feeling like I should just steal one when I went to the bathroom or something. So the long story short is, I have not eaten food today, so I need to go and get some food before I pass out.
Fair enough. Anwar knows it's the SEC. It just means you need more sandwiches. That's what it means.
I just have one last thought before we wrap up.
We can. Can we let Anwar go before you wrap up?
Yeah, but I
want to hear it. I'll hear it. I'll hear it.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
If we take the Texas schedule collectively, all 12 teams, and we take the A&M defensive unit, I would rank the Georgia defensive unit as the number 1 unit that Texas has played this season.
Okay.
Is the A&M defense the number 2 unit? Does anybody else have a better offense or defense than A&M is on defense?
Oh, and you're saying any unit can be used, offense or defense or special
Yeah,
teams.
but has Texas played anybody all season on either side of the ball? Yes to the Georgia defense.
Right.
But anybody else?
It's more a reflection of Texas' schedule. I mean, Oklahoma's defense people thought was good.
But Jason, the only point that I'm trying to make is whatever A&M is, they'll bring the second best unit that Texas has played all season. Sometimes Texas has been great in games. Other times they've somewhat struggled. But don't.
What about Kentucky?
Kentucky
Kentucky's defense is good.
Yeah, we'll have to look at Kentucky next week.
Maybe you're right, Anwar. Maybe that'll be the best tune-up that Texas can get, because they'll see that back-to-back.
Yeah, and they just don't have an offense that they have to go toe-to-toe with, but they'll have if it's just simplistically defense, then we know Kentucky has a defense that held Georgia to 13 points in the narrow victory.
That's a good point.
Michigan's not a good team. They still play good defense.
And Kentucky's D, we know it's good against the run. Let's see what it looks like against everything, because easily the most interesting part of November 30th for me is Quinn Ewers and those receivers trying to attack the Aggies' defensive backs. That should be a strength for Texas in that game. But we're watching stuff today, fellas, where things aren't quite connecting. The Aggies can be had in the back end. Can Quinn Ewers and those receivers make them pay for it?
So could Arkansas.
Yeah, right, exactly. I mean, you come out of this game with all the good stuff. There is something that'll nag at every Texas fan. 124th against the pass, 124th against the pass. And they're going to go against a team in College Station that's not fantastic against the pass. Can they take advantage of it? That's going to be a big part. And by the way, to Darwin, hell yes. Alfred Collins has gotten love in here today.
Plenty of love.
95 is playing his ass off right now, and he's disrupting a lot of stuff. He will be a big part of everything they've got moving forward. All right, let's see.
Larry, the Michigan defense is 39th in the country in yards per game. So, I mean,
are they better? Is A&M better than them for sure on defense?
I don't know. I'm not even. It's probably close.
Because that was the team I thought of, Catch. When you asked the question, I thought, well, what about Michigan's D? Like, is Michigan's defense, if we hold everything up and grade it all out, is that group just – because you're saying just the unit itself.
A&M is ranked 61st in nationally, just to have the conversation. They're ranked 61st.
Michigan's 39th.
Michigan is 39th. And
if we look at
Kentucky's 34th.
If we look at team pass efficiency, Michigan's not in the top 50. A&M is 33rd. Okay. And Kentucky is – I don't know. I don't even see them. They got to be in there. Their defense is really good, right? No, they're not in the top 50 either.
Yeah, and the other truth of the matter, guys, is, again, A&M just went on the road and yacked up 44 points. And they gave up, 280 yards rushing? Something like that? Like, by the end of that game, everybody can tell me that Le'Veon Moss getting hurt was the reason A&M lost. You didn't watch that game if that's what you think. The Aggies got pushed around. So that defense doesn't have the same feel. We got to see by November 30th if they can get a little bit of that. They were talking about the Longhorn offense needed mojo. They're at Auburn.
We'll find out a lot about them next week.
And that's an afternoon to evening kick. I thought it was set as an evening kick, but I think it's like a flex 2:30 later. But yeah, there's a weird shakiness about that whole A&M thing right now. We need to see if they can stabilize themselves by November 30th, because they're in a weird spot right now. So I'll hear any discussion to you, Larry. I'll hear a discussion if somebody wants to tell me Michigan's defense or Kentucky's defense might be better than the Aggies right now, because what they did at South Carolina is nothing to brag about. All right. Anything
Nothing
else?
that Michigan's done this season is anything to brag about.
That's
either.
true, too. No, you're right. And Michigan overall is such an average football. Like, team-wise, we know the Aggies are a lot better, but defense to defense, I don't know how we would, maybe grade all that out. All right, we appreciate Benjamin and Tom G having a little super chat fight. That was fantastic earlier. Guys, anything else before we wrap up?
Yeah, breaking the Fighting Stand ratings are now at 15-7 over the Fighting.
Ooh, how much time is left?
Minute 52 left in the fourth.
You got Anwar's attention. That was the only thing he wanted to hear.
Wait a minute.
One final update on that game.
Are you telling me that they're going to have to shake hands? Tom Herman's going to have to look Stan Drayton right in the face, right in the face.
He better shake his hand, look in the face, because we know Tom's going to go after you, Stan. You better make sure. Don't get Tom pissed off.
It'll be like Jim Harbaugh and that old coach of the Lions. All right, before we get out of here, let's thank TCH Social Austin one more time. That's what the big room looks like. There's the screen over there where we were watching. Come on out here next week for Texas and Kentucky. Hey, Jason found out last week that they've got NFL Sunday ticket right here at TCH Social Austin. So if you are an out-of-town fan like Jason is, Jason's a Steelers fan, whoever it is, by the way, good luck against those Ravens tomorrow. Steelers-Ravens, always fun. Come on out and check out the Sunday ticket as well. We'll be here next week. Those drink specials start at 1:30 with the $1 draft, $2 jellyfish. Also, just a little early piece of information that I saw for those of you that like to come out and check out our Football with Friends guys at Texas Beef Traders. They're doing that again this coming Friday, 5:30 to 7:30 out there at Texas Beef Traders. So make your plans to get out there. Thanks to everybody who was a part of it. Anwar is getting to that food he was talking about, and we appreciate you jumping in. Obviously, we appreciate Adam Lowy and the Lowy Law Firm. He did not make an appearance on the postgame show, but the postgame show is brought to you by the
Somebody messes you up, let Adam get you paid.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And thanks to almost 1,700 of you in the Specs chat right now. One more big thanks, because this number did go up as well. Here's your update. Get ready. 11. Oh, you know what? That's not even right. Hold on. We gotta fix it, because we're up another little number on the views. Hang on. This is Ketch's favorite part, where I update the views, but it is.
It's really not.
It is not at all. That was sarcasm, in case anybody missed that. 22,600 plus subscribers, and now it's 11.1 million views and counting. Thank you all for helping us out. Like, subscribe, get your notifications, and also check out.
If the little meter starts spinning, because you did that, I will be like, do it every show, Chad.
I see, but you haven't seen enough results
I'm
to make
looking at it right now, and nobody was like, oh, I gotta subscribe.
I see it didn't get anything going. You need to see the immediate response,
if you
right?
love Chad Hastings, just out of curiosity.
Oh, here we go.
Let's see 5 people in the next 30 seconds hit the subscribe button.
It'll happen. Do we time that for you? I'll start the
30
clock.
seconds.
The clock has started now. I'm going to take a sip. 5 people. It's going to happen. There's going to be like 10 people. It'll be incredible. Don't worry.
I'm waiting.
He put a weird qualifier.
The counter has not moved up 1 yet.
Not just subscribe, but subscribe if you like me.
Oh.
Like, what a weird
All
specific.
you have to do is click the button.
What a weird thing. Like, of all the ways to show me how much he hates it when I put up the updated graphic, like that is a cold-blooded way. That's 30 seconds, Catch. Did we get our
a single new so wait, someone just unsubscribed.
I scalded us. We're gonna lose subscribers if it's down to
We're now -1.
Wow. I don't even know whether to blame
myself. Let's get off the air before people start abandoning ship.
That was what that was. All right, we'll be back next week at the 2-minute warning for Texas and Kentucky. Y'all have yourselves a great week. Thank you for checking it out. The Postgame Show brought to you by the Lowy Law Firm. Thanks for jumping in on the Specs Chat. And how dare you, Jeff Ketchum. Y'all